The mile markers that move the highway was supposed to be dead straight. That's what the map said, a clean, unwavering line cutting through the desert like a scar that never healed. Interstate 47 had been built in the late 50s when optimism still believed concrete could conquer anything. Engineers bragged that you could fall asleep at the wheel and still wake up in the same lane 50 miles later. People laughed about it. People died on it. And then, slowly, people stopped laughing altogether. I hit the on-ramp just after midnight, my headlights slicing into a desert that seemed to inhale rather than reflect light. The radio crackled between stations, catching fragments of voices like they were being spoken from underwater. I shut it off. Silence felt safer, even if it pressed against my ears until I could hear my own pulse. I hadn't planned to be on the road that night. Plans had unraveled earlier, back in the city, where my apartment still smelled like burned coffee and arguments. My phone sat face down on the passenger seat, screen dark, battery nearly dead. There was no one left to call anyway. When the green sign appeared, East 47, mile 0I, took it without thinking, like gravity had made the decision for me. For the first 30 miles, nothing happened. The desert rolled by in shades of black and darker black, interrupted by the occasional reflective post. My speedometer hovered at 65. The car hummed, steady and obedient. I started to relax the way you do when repetition becomes hypnotic. White line, black asphalt, white line, black asphalt. Then I noticed the mile markers. Mile 17. 10 minutes later, mile 17 again. I told myself I'd imagined it. Fatigue plays tricks. Desert highways are monotonous. You see what you expect to see. Still a thin line of unease slid under my ribs. I watched more carefully. mile E18, mile 19, mile 17. I slowed down, heart ticking faster than the turn signal I never used. The road ahead looked unchanged. No curves, no exits, no signs of construction, just endless straightness. I checked my GPS. The screen glowed weakly, then recalculated, then froze. A spinning circle replaced the map. Great, I muttered. That was when the truck appeared. It came up behind me without headlights, a hulking silhouette blotting out the stars. I only noticed it when its grille was close enough to fill my rearview mirror. I tapped my brakes in warning. The truck didn't slow. It matched me, so close I could see rust blooming like disease along its hood. Then its headlights flicked on. They weren't white or yellow. They were a sickly blue, like hospital lighting at 3 in the morning. In that glow, I saw the driver. Or what passed for one. The cab's interior looked empty at first. Then the face leaned forward, emerging from shadow. Skin stretched too tight over bone, eyes reflecting blue light like an animal's. Its mouth opened, wider than a human jaw should, and it smiled. I floored the gas. The engine screamed. The speedometer climbed past 70, 80, 90. The mile markers blurred, numbers smearing into white streaks. The truck stayed with me effortlessly, engine silent, smile unchanging. Mile 17. The sign flashed past again, impossible and undeniable. Panic snapped something loose inside me. I yanked the wheel to the right, aiming for the shoulder, for sand, for anything that wasn't this road. The tires left asphalt and hit more asphalt. The highway didn't end. It simply continued, perfectly paved, perfectly straight, as if the desert itself had learned to lie. The truck vanished. I slammed the brakes and skidded to a stop in the middle of the lane. My breathing sounded ragged, animal. I waited for headlights. None came. The world felt suspended like a held breath. When I looked back, the mile marker behind me read, mile 0. I sat there a long time, hands locked around the steering wheel, afraid that if I moved, the road would notice. Eventually, the fear dulled into something heavier, resignation. I put the car back in drive and rolled forward. The highway rewarded me with a new sign. Welcome to I-47 nitrogen monoxide services, nitrogen monoxide exits. Keep moving. The last line wasn't reflective. It wasn't paint at all. The letters looked burned into the metal, edges blackened, as if the sign itself had learned the message the hard way. I drove. Time unraveled. My watch stopped at 12:17 a.m., the second hand frozen mid-tick. The sky never lightened, never darkened further. Hunger came and went in waves, disconnected from any sense of hours. I tried counting songs in my head, reciting license plates from memory, anything to measure progress. The road remained unchanged. Eventually, I saw taillights ahead, red, steady, human. Relief crashed over me so hard I laughed, a short, broken sound. I sped up, closing the distance until I could make out the vehicle. An old station wagon, wood paneling peeling, rear window cracked. Stickers covered the bumper-faded national parks, RDIO stations long defunct, a smiling cartoon ghost with the words still driving beneath it. The wagon slowed. I slowed with it. The driver's window rolled down. A woman leaned out, her face lined not with age but with exhaustion. Her eyes were sharp, alert in a way that suggested sleep was a luxury she no longer trusted. "Don't stop," she said, "and don't try to leave." "I tried," I said, voice hoarse. "It didn't work." She nodded, unsurprised. "It never does. Not at first." At first? The wagon drifted closer, matching my lane. Inside I saw others, two men, a teenage girl, an elderly couple holding hands. Their faces all carried the same strained patience. "You're new," the woman said. "Name's Ruth. Welcome to the Loop. What is this place?" "Hungry Highway," one of the men said from the back seat. "Takes people who don't know where they're going or who are running from something." I thought of my apartment, the argument, the way I'd driven without destination. "How long have you been here?" Ruth's mouth twitched. "Hard to say." "Years, maybe." "Time doesn't behave. Why don't you just stop?" The teenage girl laughed softly, humorless. "Road doesn't like that." As if summoned, headlights bloomed behind us, blue, cold. Ruth's eyes snapped the mirror. "Truck's back. Stay between the lines. Don't look at it too long." The truck pulled alongside, close enough that its presence felt like pressure in my skull. I focused on the dashed white line ahead, counting each segment. 1, 2, 3. A voice slid into my thoughts, bypassing my ears entirely. "You could rest," it whispered. "Just pull over." Let go. My hands shook. The idea was intoxicating sleep, silence, and end to motion. I understood then why people stayed, why they kept driving. Stopping wasn't death. It was something worse. The truck fell back, disappointed. Ruth exhaled. "If you'd own choice," she said. "Every time you think about giving up, it gets closer." "Is there a way out?" I asked. Silence stretched between our cars. Finally, the elderly man spoke. "Some say yes, mile 47, I frowned. "But the markers, they lie," he said gently. "But sometimes they tell the truth by accident." The wagon's fuel gauge hovered just above empty. Mine wasn't far behind. "What happens when you run out of gas?" I asked. Ruth met my eyes. "No one knows. No one who matters, anyway." The road ahead shimmered like heat rising from asphalt that had never known the sun. We drove together after that, an improvised convoy against an infinite night. The road tested us with illusions, exit signs that dissolved as we approached, rest stops that smelled of coffee and regret that vanished when we slowed. The truck returned again and again, sometimes alone, sometimes accompanied by others, a motorcycle with no rider, a bus full of silhouettes that pressed their faces to the windows. Each time we endured, my fuel light came on. Then Ruth's. The wagon coughed, engine stuttering like a tired heart. "There," the teenage girl said suddenly, pointing. Ahead, a mile marker stood taller than the rest, its reflective surface gleaming. Mile 47, hope surged, dangerous and bright. We accelerated, afraid the number would change if we blinked. The marker held. Just beyond it, the road split for the first time, two lanes veering apart, one continuing straight, the other curving gently to the right. A small sign stood at the fork. 47, a local access to what? The desert? Freedom? Another lie. The truck roared behind us, closer than ever. Its blue headlights flooded the road, bleaching the world of color. Choose, Ruth said. It only works if you choose. What if it's wrong? I asked. She smiled, tired but real. Then at least it's ours. The wagon drifted toward the curve. I followed, heart hammering. The straight road pulled at me, familiar, endless, safe in its predictability. The curve promised uncertainty. The truck screamed, not with sound, but with fury. I turned the wheel. The moment my tires crossed onto the curved lane, the world fractured. The highway screamed, asphalt buckled. The truck lunged, its face contorting, mouth opening impossibly wide. Then daylight. I skidded onto cracked pavement, sunlight blinding. The air smelled of sage and hot dust. A rusted sign lay toppled nearby. Old Route 47 closed behind me. The road ended in a wall of sand. No curve, no fork, no highway. The station wagon sat a few yards away, engine dead. Ruth leaned against it, laughing and crying at once. The others stumbled out, touching the ground like they expected it to vanish. My phone buzzed, 1% battery. A notification from hours, maybe days ago. Miss Paul. I looked back once more. For a heartbeat, I thought I saw blue light flicker beneath the sand. Then it was gone. We didn't talk much after that. There were no words big enough. Eventually, we walked toward a distant line of trees, toward something that wasn't a road. Sometimes, when I drive at night, I swear I see a sign out of the corner of my eye. Mile 17. I don't take that road anymore. But it's still out there, waiting.